because of why I search the deep through endless nights, no time to sleep. The call inside I can't deny. I'll find the light because of why.
Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're talking about a country that is changing so fast it's almost hard to believe. It's a wild story, really, about incredible wealth, but also really tough poverty, and the stakes, they could not be higher.
So let me ask you this. How does a country go from being one of the poorest in all of South America to like the fastest growing economy on the entire planet, seemingly overnight? Well, the answer is kind of surprising. It doesn't actually start with what they just found. It starts with what they've always had.
For decades, this right here. This was the image of Guyana's wealth. We're talking about Kayatra Falls. It's part of this huge natural treasure trove, rainforests, gold, bauxite. The country was rich in stuff, but the people, not so much.
And that's really the heart of the paradox here, the big contradiction in Guyana's history. It's a land of incredible natural wealth, but it's also had this really, really tough past. And you kind of have to understand that to get what's happening today.
I mean, just take a look at these numbers. Before all this oil stuff, Guyana was the second poorest country in South America. Almost half the population was living in poverty. And here's the kicker, even when the economy did grow, it just didn't really change things for most people. The money just wasn't getting to them.
And this poverty wasn't spread out evenly, not at all. It was really concentrated in the rural interior, where a lot of Guyana's indigenous communities live. I mean, the poverty rate there was a crazy 57%. Compare that to the coast, where it was 35%. That's a massive difference. And this deep-seated inequality, it's the backdrop for this whole story.
Okay, so then came 2015, and everything, and I mean everything, changed. Because off the coast, in the Atlantic, they found something huge, something that was about to rewrite the country's future completely.
What did they find? Oil. A lot of it. More than 8 billion barrels. And listen, that's just a starting point, a conservative guess. We're not just talking about a big find here. This was one of the biggest offshore oil discoveries anywhere in the world in decades. And since there's still a ton of unexplored ocean out there, that number, it's probably going to go way, way up.
Okay, to really get your head around how insane this is, think about it like this. The money the government expects to make from just the first 2 oil fields is over $20 billion. Now remember what the country's entire GDP was back in 2018. Just $4 billion? This isn't just like winning the lottery. It's like buying the lottery company.
But here's where the story takes a turn. Because believe it or not, for a lot of countries, a sudden flood of cash like this can actually be a curse. Yeah, a curse, not a blessing. History is full of stories of nations that hit the jackpot and then somehow ended up even worse off.
There's actually a name for it. It's this classic economic trap called Dutch disease. Weird name, I know, but the idea behind it is simple and really dangerous. It's exactly like that lottery winner who gets all this money and then a year later, they're completely broke because the money just messed up their whole life.
So, here's how it works. The oil business starts booming, right? And it basically sucks all the air out of the room for every other industry. The country's currency gets stronger, which sounds good, but it actually makes things like rice and sugar too expensive for other countries to buy. Then you've got all the skilled workers leaving their jobs in farming or manufacturing to go work for the high-paying oil companies. And pretty soon, the industries that used to employ everybody start to just fall apart. And the dangers don't even stop there. You've got organizations like the World Bank basically saying, hey, be careful. If this isn't managed perfectly, all this oil money could make inequality even worse. It could make the whole country totally dependent on one thing, oil. And we all know how its price goes up and down. And it puts a ton of pressure on the government, which can, open the door to some serious corruption.
So that's the big question, right? How is Guyana planning to avoid this destiny? How do you handle a tsunami of cash without completely wiping out? Well, let's take a look at what they're trying to do. Okay, so their main shield is something called the Natural Resource Fund. You can just think of it like a giant national savings account. And it has 3 simple rules. Rule 1, you save the oil money, you don't just spend it all.
Rule 2, you invest it overseas so it can grow steadily over time. And Rule 3, you only take out a small, manageable amount each year for the national budget. It's all about stopping the economy from going crazy and, saving for a rainy day.
But is it working? That really is the billion-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, it's great to have a plan on paper, but what's actually happening in the real world? A lot of people have been saying, look out, Dutch disease is already here. So, what does the actual data tell us?
And this is where it gets really interesting. The latest numbers, they tell a totally different story. Instead of shrinking, Guyana's non-oil economy is, well, it's booming. I mean, look at this. Agriculture, manufacturing, services, they're all seeing massive growth. We're talking double-digit growth for the non-oil parts of the economy 2 years in a row.
And this isn't just some abstract number on a spreadsheet. We're talking about real, traditional industries coming back to life in a big way. Corn and soya production, it more than doubled in 1 year. The bauxite industry, which was kind of fading, jumped by almost 50%. This is literally the exact opposite of what you'd expect to see if the Dutch disease was taking hold.
But look, big economic numbers are one thing. As impressive as they are, they're only part of the picture. At the end of the day, what this is really all about is people. It's about the lives of everyday Guyanese folks, especially the ones who've been left out for so long.
And this quote from activist Jean LaRose, I think it just says it all. The real hope here, the real test, is whether this money can finally build the roads, the schools, the hospitals that these communities have needed forever. It's about turning those billions on a spreadsheet into actual, real improvements that you can see and feel.
Which, of course, brings us to the final, huge question, the one that's going to shape Guyana's future for the next 100 years. So what's it going to be? Can Guyana pull this off? Can they become the poster child for how to handle a massive resource boom, a story where everyone benefits? Or is it just going to be another sad story about the resource curse? The stakes are just massive, and honestly, nobody knows for sure how it's going to play out.
So I'm curious, what do you think? After everything we've looked at, are you feeling optimistic for Guyana? Does this data about the non-oil economy convince you that maybe, just maybe, they're getting it right? Drop a comment below and let us know.
And hey, if you like this explainer and learned something new, do us a huge favor and hit that like button and definitely subscribe so you don't miss our next deep dive. Thanks a ton for watching. We'll see you next time.